ابنك ايش قد يبعد منا.
Hello, ESCA friends. In this episode, we're going to talk about the storyline of a movie titled Mosul 2019. This film is based on a true story set in Iraq, in a city called Mosul. It tells the story of an elite Iraqi police team known as the SWAT BGW, who fight tirelessly and fearlessly against ISIS. In the movie, ISIS is referred to as PAYS. They are shown trying to flee after their occupation of Mosul, during which they committed acts of rape, torture, and mass murder. During the pursuit, the SWAT team kills many ISIS terrorists, which makes them highly feared. The SWAT team is the only group that is never offered, Tauba, a chance to repent and join the Iraqi security forces, if captured by ISIS. If a SWAT member is caught, they are executed immediately. This emotional story follows the team as they fight against the ISIS terrorist group to end the violence and oppression in their homeland. The film aims to give a deep perspective on their relentless pursuit and the horrific struggle they endure, along with the heartbreaking losses of their loved ones. So, without further ado, let's get into the storyline. The film opens with a scene of 3 Iraqi police officers engaged in a gunfight with ISIS terrorists. They are trapped inside a building, holding the ground until they run out of ammunition. Meanwhile, the ISIS forces continue to close in. With no bullets left, they resort to using knives and broken glass to defend themselves. 2 ISIS members, who they manage to subdue, are seen tied up nearby. Suddenly, the sound of gunfire erupts from outside. Karwa calls out for his uncle, but he realizes that his uncle has died. Karwa then walks out of the building with his hands raised. To his surprise, they are rescued by a SWAT team that is currently pursuing the ISIS terrorists. Jamal is in disbelief at the sight of the SWAT team. He had heard reports claiming that all SWAT members were already dead. Major Jason, the SWAT team leader, asks why local police officers were present at the location. Jamal explains that they were trying to arrest ISIS members who had crossed into the area to trade drugs in exchange for ammunition and weapons. Major Jason pulls out a list of names, individuals suspected of being part of or connected to ISIS. He asks Karwa and Jamal to state their full names. Karwa responds by saying he is just like them, a fellow police officer. Major Jason reveals that many names on the list belong to police officers who had joined ISIS. After checking, it turns out neither Karwa nor Jamal is on the list. Major Jason then asks if either of them had lost family members to ISIS. Karwa replies that his uncle had just been killed in the recent firefight. Hearing this, Major Jason takes a SWAT cap and offers it to Karwa, inviting him to join the SWAT team. Karwa asks if Jamal can join as well. Major Jason refuses, explaining that Jamal has never been hurt by ISIS or lost family to them. Karwa hesitates, still unsure about trusting these people he barely knows. Major Jason tells him that they are the ones who avenged his uncle's death. Upon hearing that, Karwa finally accepts the offer and takes the cap. Major Jason then orders the team to move out. Jamal says he will take his uncle's body with him. Karwa is given a SWAT uniform, a vest, and a rifle, and leaves with the team. In the middle of their journey, Karwa asked Walid what their actual mission was. However, Walid didn't answer his question and instead told him not to mess up the mission. They kept moving and eventually entered a building. After making sure the place was safe, they rested there for a while to regain their strength. Then, Major Jason distributed the money they had seized from the terrorists they had eliminated. Karwa, who was sitting by the window with another team member, once again asked about their real mission. But he still didn't get an answer. After that, the two of them listened to music together. Suddenly, Karwa heard the sound of a car. He looked out the window along with Major Jason. It turned out the car belonged to Jamal. Jamal was seen throwing a smoke bomb as a signal. Not long after, another car appeared from behind and suddenly exploded. Major Jason shouted for everyone to take cover. However, one of the SWAT team members who had been at the window didn't heed his warning, and was caught in the explosion, killing him instantly. They then carried his body into the car and prayed for him. After that, they gathered to plan a route to their next destination. There were two possible routes, the fastest one, which passed through the most dangerous part of the city, or a safer route that went through a federal police checkpoint. But to go through it, they would need to bribe the officers there. After considering the team's safety, they chose to go through the checkpoint. On the way, they found two children pushing a cart carrying their father's body. Major Jason invited them to come with the SWAT team to the border. However, the older sibling refused because he had promised to bury their parent properly. Due to his determination, only the younger sibling ended up joining the SWAT team. Not long after, they arrived at the checkpoint. There, they were inspected by the federal police. With a sum of money, they bribed the officers. After that, they handed over their fallen comrade's body so it could be properly handled along with the other soldiers' remains. Kawa then asked why they had to bribe the federal police to pass the checkpoint. He was confused as to why an elite force would need to do such a thing. But he didn't receive an answer. Meanwhile, Major Jason was looking for a family to entrust the young child to. Suddenly, a federal officer recognized them. He said the SWAT team's superior had been looking for them and believed they were all dead. Upon hearing that, Major Jason approached the officer and told him to pretend he had never seen the SWAT team. He also threatened him not to reveal their whereabouts. After that, the SWAT team continued their journey when they heard a radio transmission from ISIS contacting them. ISIS had seen them wandering around the city and asked what they were looking for, but the SWAT team ignored her. Kawa tried to speak with them, but he was dismissed. He asked again what their real objective was, but he still got no answer. Kawa then opened the phone belonging to the deceased SWAT team member and saw photos of ISIS members who had been taken out. One of the team members then showed a video of the brother of the fallen team member having his throat slit by ISIS. They arrived at the border and entered a dangerous area controlled by ISIS. There, many civilians were seen fleeing from the region. But suddenly, gunshots rang out from behind the civilians. The shots came from ISIS troops who deliberately fired at the civilians for trying to flee. The SWAT team tried to provide covering fire. Suddenly, an ISIS sniper managed to shoot a SWAT team member named Tur, killing him instantly. After identifying the sniper's position, the SWAT team launched a counterattack. Kawa, Walid, and Major Jason raided the building where the ISIS members were positioned. The two ISIS members were eventually neutralized. After securing the area, the three of them scanned the surroundings. Walid pointed out a building 2 kilometers away, the next destination. Meanwhile, behind a wall, Kawa saw a mother crying over her young child who had been shot dead by ISIS. He then took a selfie with a fallen ISIS member. But it turned out the ISIS member was still alive. Realizing this, Kawa quickly grabbed the axe from his back and was about to decapitate him. But Major Jason stopped him. He did so intentionally, letting the ISIS member die in pain instead. Then, the sound of the call to prayer echoed. Major Jason assigned Amir to stand guard as a sniper. They began to pray in turns. Just as Major Jason was about to start, Walid called out to him. He had spotted an ISIS command center in the area. He asked Walid to make the decision. A brief argument ensued between them. In the end, Walid decided to avoid engagement and remain undetected. Suddenly, a drone was heard overhead. The drone struck the SWAT team's vehicle. They went on high alert as another drone approached. Then, gunfire was heard from another building that shot down the drone. It turned out there was an Iraqi militia force in the neighboring building also fighting ISIS. Major Jason offered to barter AK-47 ammunition. But the militia used bolt-action rifles and still had plenty of weapons. The Iranian militia then said they had lots of AK-47 ammo, which they only used in emergencies. And they were only willing to trade ammo for cigarettes. Major Jason agreed, as they happened to have a large supply of cigarettes. He brought several boxes of cigarettes and entered the Iraqi militia's compound. Inside, tense negotiations and arguments took place between the two parties. Eventually, they agreed on 1 box of cigarettes for 1 box of ammo. Afterward, the Iraqi militia commander asked Major Jason to take a look at their prisoners, in case he recognized any of them. Major Jason looked through their faces one by one and found that one of the captives was Jamal. Upon seeing this, Kawa, unable to control his emotions, grabbed his axe and struck his former friend in the head without mercy. During their journey, Major Jason explained to Kawa why they had been on the run all this time without ammo supplies or support from headquarters. It turned out that in a previous mission, they were ordered to retreat and were later reassigned to a remote village to keep them out of the war. Suddenly, while on the road, they were ambushed by ISIS who had blocked the route, leading to a fierce gunfight. In that battle, Amir accidentally shot Jones in the back of the head just as he was about to move forward. Then Walid threw a grenade, but his throw lacked accuracy, causing the grenade to bounce back toward them. As a result, Kawa was hit by the explosion in the face. Eventually, they managed to eliminate the ISIS members and treat Kawa's wounds. Amir appeared deeply regretful, feeling extremely guilty for accidentally shooting Jones. Afterward, they quickly left the area to continue their mission on foot, walking through the alleys between buildings. While clearing a building, they encountered a group of ISIS fighters who were unaware of their presence. A firefight then became inevitable. Team SWAT, who were already skilled in combat and always on high alert in every situation, mercilessly took down all the ISIS members, even though they were vastly outnumbered. Unfortunately, during the attack, they lost another team member named Razik. Sanar was also injured in the stomach during the assault. They quickly treated Sanar's wound and then continued their mission. Eventually, they reached the ISIS command center. The ISIS members appeared to be loading ammunition in an open area and seemed ready to move out soon. The team immediately divided into strategic positions to launch an attack. Once everything was ready, Walid initiated the assault by firing an RPG. Unfortunately, the RPG missile failed to detonate. Their plan didn't go smoothly, and they were forced to engage in close quarters combat.
With their agility, the SWAT team was still able to eliminate the ISIS members. Although they lost another member, they kept moving forward and wiped out the remaining ISIS fighters.
The body of Major Jason. They had just lost a leader who had been responsible for organizing all the strategies and plans throughout their mission. In the midst of the silence, Kawa stood up and reminded them that their 90 seconds were up, urging them to continue with the mission. Even though he still didn't fully understand what their actual mission was, he believed there had to be a greater reason, one strong enough to make the SWAT team willing to fight and risk their lives. Walid hesitated to proceed, shaken by Major Jason's death. But regardless, they had come too far and had to finish the mission they had started. With the 6 remaining members, they decided to move forward toward the building they had been targeting all this time. It was only 3 blocks away from the current location. Eventually, they arrived at the building. They entered and snuck through slowly until they reached a house. A house for which Walid surprisingly had the key. Walid was visibly trembling as he prepared to unlock the door. Seeing this, Kamal, his comrade, took a deep breath and remained calm. When the door finally opened, Walid stepped in and shot the ISIS fighter inside the room straight in the head. It turned out to be Walid's house. Inside were his wife and child, whom he had not seen in a long time. Walid embraced them both tightly. Seeing this, Kawa remained silent. He finally understood. Every question he had about their mission was now answered. It had all been Major Jason's plan, to rescue the remaining family members of the SWAT team. Kamal then explained that Major Jason had a family too. But ISIS knew who they really were. Before joining ISIS, all of them had been criminals. Criminals who had once been captured by Major Jason and his team. One of those former criminals had risen to become a high-ranking ISIS leader and had killed Major Jason's entire family. Kamal then revealed that a week ago, they had discovered the whereabouts of his son, Amir. Hearing this, Kawa stood up and asked Amir how far the location of his son was. And then, the film ended. Thank you for watching this video. Don't forget to subscribe and feel free to comment below. How far do you think this video has spread? Thank you, and warm regards from your friend at Ieska.